I said, guess who's back? Man, guess who's back? I said, guess who's back?
I never go in the ring looking for the knockout, but if I smell blood and it's there, he out of there.
Good luck to both of you. August 3rd, fantastic main event.
What's going on, guys? It's Backchat TV and I'm back with another video. This time, breaking news. Terence Crawford, they're having the press conference. It's official now. Terence Crawford versus Israel Madrimov is happening August the 3rd, I believe. Another Riyadh card, but it's actually taking place in the US, in LA, and they're fighting each other. This is the head-to-head, pretty much the same size, you know. Terence Crawford has really put on some muscle there. You know, he's going to need it at middleweight. Madrimov is no joke. I'm not trying to, you know, like pretend as if Madrimov is more than what he is, but you know, just because someone is pound for pound the best in their weight class, it doesn't mean that you can move up and do the same thing that you do to, you know, welterweights. Things do change as the weight increases. Madrimov is not a stepping stone. You know, he's a young, you know, strong guy at the weight. He looks like Triple G, to be honest, and he's from Triple G's country. You know, they're tough already. He's very athletic as well. A lot of these guys are not that athletic. I know he does some, you know, gymnastics and all sorts of things like that. He's you know, a champion, and it's not going to be easy. You know, he's the weight class above. 154 is his weight class. Terence Crawford is the one moving up. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if the fight kind of goes to points, because you know, it's difficult to knock out somebody who is naturally the bigger man. So I wouldn't be surprised if a fight like this was actually one of Terence Crawford's toughest fights, despite the fact that Madrimov is not very well known. You know, just because you're moving up a weight, that's basically what happens. You know, so I wouldn't be surprised if Madrimov ends up being Terence Crawford's toughest fight. I've watched him. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's good. He's got good instincts, good athleticism. You know, but I think he's at that stage at the moment that he's not quite ready for Terence Crawford, because Terence Crawford, just, we all know, you know, I have a feeling that Madrimov is going to try to kind of steamroll Terence Crawford. When he gets what he thinks is an opening, he's going to go full steam ahead. I've kind of seen Madrimov kind of swinging for the fences, and he gets a lot of people out of there with that. And although he is cautious when he, you know, when he really goes for it and puts these combinations together, I think he'll try that on Terence Crawford at some point, and I think that's when he's going to get caught, because Terence Crawford is just too sharp, way too sharp for any of that crazy stuff. Madrimov needs to be very, very careful. You know, just because Crawford's coming up from, you know, the weight class below, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have the ability to beat a middleweight. And I hope Madrimov is not trying to make an example of him and go steaming in there, which I think he will at some point when he sees an opening, or what he thinks is an opening, and he starts, you know, throwing those crazy combinations like I've seen him do in some of his last fights, because Crawford will definitely catch him in between throwing those shots. Crawford will punch with you. He'll catch you in between your combination. He'll counter over your jab just before you kind of, you know, retract your lead hand. You know, he does some serious stuff in there, and Madrimov could find himself on the seat of his pants, as they say, very quickly if he goes steaming in there. So it's going to be a good fight. I think it will be a test for Crawford, but I think it will be one that he'll pass, and he'll end up taking the titles. It's his first fight, full stop, at 154 pounds. And I favour Terence Crawford, like most people, to beat the tough, young, hungry Madrimov. On to the next fight. Jarrell Miller is also on this card. Jarrell Miller is fighting Andy Louise. I didn't see that coming. I had no idea that they were working on that fight, but they got Andy Louise back in with Jarrell Miller. It's good that Jerome Miller got a chance at this Saudi card that they're having in the US. He should count himself lucky because obviously he lost in devastating fashion against Daniel Dubois. During the press conference, he looked as if he'd been training. He looks as if he's taking boxing more seriously, to be honest. He said a lot of things. He said that a lot of things weren't right in his camp, in his life in general, leading up to the fight with Daniel Dubois. So he thinks he can do a lot better. He said that he didn't get time to train Daniel Dubois. He had some issues with his promotional company trying to sue him for £1.5 million. But now he said that most things are in order. So he sorted out the money side. We never really know what's true. You know, a lot of these people, these boxers, they need to pay their bills. So sometimes they try to get on the card, you know, and they're not fit or healthy, whatever. But I kind of believe Jerome Miller that he's going to do his best. And I don't think he's just in it for the money now. But unfortunately for him, I think it might be kind of too late in his life. Kind of, you know, change his ways and become a champion or something. It's quite difficult. I don't see him having a chance to get past Andy Louise, to be honest. Andy Louise is a good, solid fighter. Very sharp, quick hands, not scared to punch hard. I also feel that Andy Louise knows what it's like and what it takes to be at the top level because he's fought Anthony Joshua, Josie Parker, you know, Luis Ortiz. So I don't think Jerome Miller's got a chance just based on the experience that Andy Louise has over him. I just don't see that fight ending well for Jerome Miller. Having said that, Jerome Miller, you know, he was an unbeaten fighter until he lost. So, you know, he's got every chance of pulling out the upset against Andy Louise, but I highly doubt it. Moving on to the next fight, Virgil Ortiz versus Tim Tszyu, apparently. I know that they've been kind of talking about possibility of these two fighting, but I thought Tim Tszyu maybe would be injured from the last fight, but he's not, and he will be fighting Virgil Ortiz. Now, this fight, out of all the fights on this card, I think is the most difficult fight to actually pick a winner. Because they're both dogs, man. They're both dogs. They're both tough, young. They both don't have any quit in them. If I had to pick someone, I'd probably say Tim Tszyu. Not just because I'm kind of a fan, but I just think that he's got a little bit more resilience. But I've never seen Virgil Ortiz quit or anything. So these two guys might just fight to the death, these guys. Yeah, don't know who's going to win. But just to recap, if I had to choose, I think Terence Crawford gets it done against Medov. I think Andy Louise gets it done against Jerome Miller. And I think Tim Tszyu ekes out a decision against the tough Victor Ortiz. Moving swiftly on, we've also got on the card Isaac Cruz. He's fighting quite regularly nowadays. Just had a fight with Rolly, and now he's back on this card for August the 3rd against Rayo Venezuela. A good fighter. Venezuela, he's got power. He knows how to use his distance, but I feel like he doesn't have enough volume to beat someone like Isaac Cruz, personally. I think Isaac Cruz will use the same tactics he used against Rolly, and I think he'll be almost as successful. The only difference is I think Rayo has better distance control, and he's faster, he's got snappier shots, and you know, he's aggressive. I think he's even more aggressive than Rolly in certain parts. And you know, if Cruz puts himself in kind of harm's way, Venezuela will catch him, and he has got power. But I do think Cruz will get it done. At the moment, I think Isaac Cruz is just getting better and better. And if he runs through Rayo Venezuela, I'm really looking out for this guy, Isaac Cruz. I'm liking him already. His personality, his whole story. I saw a documentary about him, coming from poverty and all sorts, and he's really making a name for himself. So I don't think that Venezuela is going to have enough to stop Isaac Cruz. So my bet, I would edge Isaac Cruz in this fight also. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of this card. It's pretty good so far. Let me know in the comments. I'm on to the next one. I said, guess who's back? Man, guess who's back? said, guess who's back?